Atlanta Motor Speedway, located about 20 miles south of downtown Atlanta in Hampton, Georgia, has come a very long way from the first race held in 1960 and won by NASCAR legend Fireball Roberts, who also took the pole at 133 miles per hour. Spectators from that day who watched from one small grandstand or on blankets spread out in the adjacent dirt bank wouldn't begin to recognize the facility today, even down to the name. Dubbed Atlanta International Raceway when it opened, the track struggled financially through the 60s and 70s before finding a degree of stability in the 1980s. Future Georgia Governor, U.S. President Jimmy Carter briefly worked as a ticket seller on race weekends in the 1960s. Real change came following Bruton Smith's purchase of the facility in 1990, with the transformation of Atlanta International Speedway occurring in 1997. With extensive reconfiguration that switched the front and back straightaways and added a double dogleg in the new front straightaway. In the 7 intervening years, new grandstands sprouted almost every year, and a 9-story tower, Terra Place, that houses the track offices and a number of luxury condominiums. Atlanta has been a staple on the NASCAR calendar for decades, and tonight, it's the Downrange Transport Premier Series Hotlanta 200. It's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway for tonight's Hotlanta 200 Downrange Transport Premier Series race number 7. Coming to you a day late and a dollar short. Another tape-delayed broadcast here of the Downrange Transport Premier Series, having server overlay issues last night, unable to get that system up and running, but it is updated, new update installed. We should be good to go here tonight on the tape-delayed broadcast for tonight's race. Practice still continuing. Let's take a look at the details. 78-degree air temperature, 55% humidity, 130 laps the race distance here tonight, and track temperature 111 degrees currently and likely coming down. Taking a look trackside here, who's fastest in the session right now. It's the 74. It looks like Andrew Miller at 32.26. Brandon Alphin second quick. Third, Jason Dalton. Justin Bondurant in the 4th position. Steve Miles 5th. All these drivers, as per the usual, looking at the lap times, awfully close. Again, a 32.26. That's not super accurate. Looks like that was it is a 32.26. Not sure why Miller's on top of the board there. We did get reports that something a little wonky about this session last night. Hopefully he doesn't give us any trouble tonight. Looks like Alphin's actually the fastest, as if he's a full second faster than the 74. Guess we'll give it a quick reload to see what happens. Andrew Miller listed top of the board here. I'm not sure why it's being displayed that way, as he does not have the fastest time, but ironically it shows a backward time, a negative time, negative 32.27. Miller out there in a DeLorean going back in time. Sam Fontaine, 6th quick on the board, a 31.39. More likely to be 5th fast. J.W. Miller in the 6 machine. Miller running 12th in practice. Just about a minute and a half left in the session before the red and black flags will be displayed. We'll get right into the qualifying session. Set the field for tonight's Hotlanta 200. Again, 130 laps. It's rounded up to 200. It's about 195 laps, I believe. I'm sorry, miles, that is. Again, you guys just joining us here, we are running tape-delayed coverage of last night's Hotlanta 200. Less than 30 seconds remain in practice. Brandon Alphin appears to be top of the board here. That number 74 of Andrew Miller, I don't believe he is going to be fast time there. Clock gets to 0 on the session. And we wait. 27 car field here tonight. We'll see who takes to the track first in qualifying. 2 laps to get it done to set the field for tonight's race. Looks like Josh Gagnon's going to be first to roll out. The number 79 PRG gear Ford Mustang. Well, he's in the pits first. He hasn't started to roll as of yet. Looks like Sam Fontaine is on the move. We'll follow the 77 for his qualifying lap. Fontaine to start finish, takes the green flag. Fontaine using all of the racetrack to his disposal. Had to lift a bit in 3 and 4. That's going to hurt the lap. He's still got one more opportunity to go around here. Not sure which lap is going to be the best of 2. Fontaine, 31.33. It wasn't bad. Jason Dalton on the track. His first lap at 31.56. Let's see if he speeds up here on his second lap. Ooh, real loose on exit at turn 2. Partial throttle through 3 and 4. Very similar to Fontaine's lap. Dalton goes 31.36, just shy of the pole. Fontaine stays at a 31.33. Sean Petchen on his second lap. First lap at 31.568 for the number 69 machine. Petchen getting all he can out of turn 4. Heavier on the throttle in the middle of 3 and 4. Let's see if it helps. It does. 31.336. almost goes P1, but Brandon Alphin puts the number 21 in the top spot, 31.301. Diego Sainz, first lap, 31.556. He's currently sitting in the 10th spot. Sainz going way high on turn 4, building a ton of momentum. Let's see if it pays off on the second lap. It does. P6, 31.399 seconds for the 44. Matt Telder's first lap, 31.66, puts him P15. Telder across the stripe, 8th quick, 31.471. Alex Bryson halfway through his second lap, a 31.52, his first time by, he currently sits 12th. Bryson goes P5, a 387, good lap for the 38. 31.47 for the 24 of Miles. Around a 47 his first time. Let's see if he picks it up here second lap. He does. P1. 31.297 seconds for the 24 of Stephen Miles. He goes top of the board. That may wrap it up here. A couple drivers haven't taken the time as of yet, but the clock getting short on time. In fact, session does come to an end. With that, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with our starting grid after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Down the back straightaway, Petchin and Fontaine still battling. Alphin right there. Top three under a blanket. Lap 11 goes up on the board. Fontaine and Petchin still battling for the lead. Either driver wants to give up. Could work out in the end for Alphin, but in the meantime, Dalton and Miles closing in, as well as Bondurant, Alex Bryson, Diego Sainz, Matt Telder, Chris Dean, all in the top 10 here. Lead pack starting to get a little bit bigger. Some drivers have caught the tail end of that group. Meanwhile, Dalton looking to the inside on Brandon Alphin for the third spot. Slides up the racetrack, pushes a little bit more than he planned on. Has to tuck back in behind in the fourth position. Steve Miles behind him, but he's got Justin Bondurant to his inside. Taking a look at the stream chat. Guess you guys had some issues hearing me. I had to unplug and replug in the mic here. I don't know what's happened there, but glad you can hear me now. Apologize for that. Yeah, that was quite the crank it up. It wasn't really a crank it up, but I'm glad you guys thought it was. Steve Miles still runs in the fifth spot. Dalton in fourth. Things pretty much unchanged here at the front of the field, though. Sam Fontaine still with the lead over Sean Petchin and Brandon Alphin. It was a big wiggle out of the 77 off of turn 2 that last lap. I don't know if Petchin had to check up just out of sheer fear of running him over. Either way, Petchin still stays in that second position. Fontaine with the lead as he put lap 15 up on the board. I think Petchin's got the faster run here. He's certainly right there every lap. Now he's back to the inside. Has to tuck back in behind, though. Not able to get a good enough run out of 2. Alphin has a good run, though. He's going to jump to the bottom, look for second place. Petchin way up the racetrack. He's going to try and build a run out of turn 4, try to carry that through the dog leg. He's not close enough, I don't think, here. Coming back to the line, Fontaine still has it. Still a great battle up front. Petchin closes in on Fontaine. Fontaine drives away a little bit, then Petchin closes the gap again, and back and forth and back and forth. Again, I know Atlanta Motor Speedway is notorious, at least the old version, for chewing up tires. I just fear that these two, battling it out the way they have, going to burn up their stuff early. And again, it is early. They've got more tires to worry about. They can bolt on a new set later on, but how far will they fall before they get that opportunity? Does it stay green until they get that opportunity? Do they get lucky enough to get an early caution at some point? 17 laps in, I wouldn't be surprised if we were to get a yellow to see these drivers come down pit lane and put tires on. Most tracks, 18 laps? Probably not. Atlanta? I wouldn't be surprised. On board with Brandon Alphin again, the battle for third shaping up. Jason Dalton taking a peek. Dalton going high, going low. Dalton takes a look to the bottom. Big wiggle for the 2 out of turn 2. Loses some ground. Loses a position or two here. Steve Miles is taking it away, and now Justin Bondurant to the inside. He wants the spot as well. Dalton was pushing hard trying to get around. Made a small mistake. Alex Bryson real loose out of turn number 2, keeps it straight. Diego Sainz starting to make some moves towards the front of the field as well. The number 44, the red, white, and blue entry on the bottom. Matt Telder closing in. Fastest lap of the day so far. It's J.W. Miller, number 6 machine. He ran a 31.72. Having some connection problems though. Clearly keeps blinking out. Chris Dean, the number 48 machine, running in the 10th spot, rounding out the top 10. Chris with KJT2. Oh, Diego Sainz real loose. You can see the right rear of that car just hung right out. Telder's going to take advantage, or is he? Nope, slots back in behind both drivers. He might have got a little loose on a 2 as well. That just might have been a correction for the 1. Side by side, 4 positions. Sainz and Bryson going at it. This is for the 7th spot. Sainz the number 44 down low. Bryson the 38 machine up on the high side. Bryson maintains it, takes it away, takes it back for that matter on the outside. Telder trying to take advantage though. He's looking to the bottom on Diego Sainz. Nothing doing there. Alphin has slipped back to the 4th spot. Jason Dalton closing in. Justin Bondurant in behind those 2 as well. The battle up front continuing. Fontaine still with the race lead. Petchin and Miles the end of the top 3. Petchin has got a lot of company. That 24 machine all over the back bumper. Saw a bit of tire smoke there. I'm not sure if that was coming from Fontaine, if he was dirt tracking it through the corner, but he maintains the top spot. However, Miles is going to take P2 from Petchin here if he can get clear. Petchin with a big run out of 4. Great way to defend. He's still to the outside. Petchin back to the 2nd spot. Miles seems to be a touch faster, at least for the time being. Finally, Miles gets clear, takes the spot away, sets his sights on the lead, and that's the 77 of Sam Fontaine as we approach lap 29. Battle for the lead shaping up. Miles has got to run. He's going to take a look right now down into turn number 1 for the top spot. Not wasting time now. He's got the pace now that there's some wear on these tires. We talked about it early on. Did Petchen and Fontaine burn up their stuff a little bit too early on in the run? It seems it as Miles took his sweet time working his way to the top spots. He's there in P2. Seems to have the pace, drives it to the bottom, keeps it pretty much pinned on the white line out of 4. Meanwhile, these two are driving away really from the rest of the field. Full second back to P3, Sean Petchen. Miles looks to have led that lap, still not clear of the 77, down into turn 1 again. Door to door with Fontaine through turns 1 and 2. Dips the left front below the white line. That's okay. It's not out of bounds here at Atlanta, at least not on the old configuration. Frustration might be setting in for Stephen Miles, though. It's hard to make these passes stick and get clear. He slides up the racetrack, inches between the two, out of 4. What a finish this would have been. Fontaine would have won it. Except it's only lap 32. Got 129 to go. We have 99 to go. I don't know. I'm not here for my math skills, guys. Into 3 again. Miles still fighting for that lead. Right rear hung out again in the wind, pulling some side force on that number 24. Doesn't carry the momentum like Fontaine does. He is now clear of Miles as they work back into turn 1 as the sun peeks back out here in Atlanta. Still, we watch this battle for the lead. Fontaine has been strong, able to hold off the hard-charging Stephen Miles, the number 24 Ric Flair drip machine. Still less than a car length off the back bumper into 1 and 2. Miles is going to look to the high side now, switching it up, going top side, going to build the run down the back. Let's see if he can make it pay. Fontaine takes half a lane away to the inside. Nothing doing just yet. What a battle we've got here for the lead. Slides up the racetrack, does Fontaine. Little out of shape in 3 and 4. That's going to open the door for Miles. Is it enough? Still no. These guys just continue to fight it out, but now I worry about Miles and his Goodyear Racing Eagles underneath that machine as he burning up his stuff. Good for him, at least it's later on in the run. They're going to get to pit stop soon enough. Miles wants to lead, though. A little chaos here in the back of the pack, out of that top 5, actually. Drivers diving way to the inside as Miles gets a nose out in front off of 4 once again. Still not clear. Big wiggle from Fontaine, but he doesn't lift. Keeps the momentum rolling down through the double dogleg. Lap after lap, these two drivers battling it out as they continue to put distance on the rest of the field. How they're managing to fight this hard and this aggressively and still build a gap back to third place. Justin Bonnarott, 2.3 seconds the distance back to third. Out of 4 again. Look at that. Still side by side for the lead at Atlanta. I really think it's just a matter of time here. Miles does have the better car, it seems. A little bit newer tires as far as how well he's taken care of them. Of course, they all started on the same set. But it seems that Miles was a little more passive early stage of this race. Able to baby that rubber later on in the run so he can charge his way to the front while everybody else is being aggressive and beating the daylights out of theirs. I tell you, Fontaine, though, still strong on that high side, not going to give it up. The trick with him, though, if he stays in that lane, if it works for him, it makes it awfully difficult for Miles to do anything about it. He can run the same line as Fontaine to maintain that speed, but he's got to deal with a lot of dirty air. He's going to dump all that dirty air in the nose of that number 24. It's going to tend to push the nose a bit. You're going to be a little bit tight. Nose doesn't want to corner, doesn't want to grip, slides up the racetrack. So he's trying to run that lower line to keep the air on the nose of the 24. Gives him the downforce that he needs to get in and out of that corner. Problem is, he's unable to get enough of a run on the momentum side to make it around the 77. Tucks back in, pulls a draft. Every lap, side by side out of 4, just can't get it done. One and two seems to be a little stronger for Fontaine. Look at the run that Miles gets on the bottom in 3 and 4. Corner exit, Fontaine excels. Miles looking to the bottom again through 1 and 2. That's a little different. Still can't get him clear. Unbelievable. These two have been battling like this for 10 plus laps. Every lap, side by side, almost banging doors. Fontaine still leads it. I don't think Miles has crossed the stripe in front of the 77 yet. Pit stops underway for some drivers. Diego Sainz down into the pits. Alex Bryson as well. Cedric Ingram, Kevin Davis, Cameron Ingram, all on pit lane here, lap 42. So this is where it can change quite a bit. You got drivers coming down pit lane here. They're going to bolt on some fresh Goodyears. And you look at the fall off. Leader's last lap was a 33.77. That's a full 2 seconds slower than his best lap of the day. So there's a lot of tire fall off there. Diego Sainz is going to come out with fresh rubber, and he's going to be lightning in the bottle for a little while. He's going to make up a lot of track position until those leaders decide to pit. Now, if they're smart, they may opt to do that as well. Kind of negate that short pit that those drivers are making on the leaders, as Alphin is also down pit lane. Fontaine and Miles stay on the racetrack, still 1 and 2. Dalton, Telder, Bondurant the top 5. Four tires and fuel for Brandon Alphin. 14.94 seconds. He's down and away. Decent stop. Fontaine way up the racetrack, kind of out of the groove into that lightly colored pavement. Top lane starting to come in, it seems. But meanwhile, we're 45 laps in here. We're going to step aside, take an HBR TV side-by-side break. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing Radiothon.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the leaders have hit pit lane. Fontaine and Miles both in the pit box. They were side by side on the racetrack and side by side in the pits. They both dropped the jack at the same time. Looks like Miles is going to get out before the 77 makes the pass in the pits. Meanwhile, the 63 of Cummings takes the top spot while Jason Dalton and Christine come down pit lane. Have to see how everybody cycles through. Both drivers comfortably into the pit box, Dean and Dalton. Tandem pit stop again. Jack drops the same time. Both drivers are away. Dalton gets out first. Dean in behind, a few car lengths back. Got to be careful, Dalton. Don't want to get an unsafe exit. From the lead, Alex Cummings in pits. It's going to give Petchin the race lead. Once he gets by, he's like 17, 15, 13, now back in the front. Petchin goes by through turn one, inherits the top spot. He made his butt stop at lap 40. Remember, we talked about that undercut. Hit the fresh tires early, make up the distance on the fresh rubber while the leaders stayed out. And that's exactly what happened with the 69 as he's out front of Diego Sainz now by 2.05 seconds. Petchin out of turn number 2. No pressure out the back. Alphin in the third spot. Made his pit stop at lap 42. Been caution free since the drop at the green flag. 55 laps in. Oh, the 74 is in the fence. Andrew Miller gets the right side in the safer barrier, gathers it up, doesn't collect anybody else. We stay under the green flag, but that was the closest I think we've come to a caution thus far. Ironic that the car is yellow. Good save for the 74, though. He's running back now in the 20th position. Still awfully loose out of turn 2. He's got his hands full. Comes Jason Dalton on the bottom, and he's in the fence again. Oh, now he's in the fence big time. Still trying to save it, drives it down to the flat. Looks like he's headed to pit road. Andrew Miller, trouble on the racetrack, gets in the fence a bunch of times. Going to get some repairs and some tires possibly. Indeed, right side's going on. Meanwhile, out front, Petchin still with the lead, but here comes Steve Miles and Brandon Alphin and Sam Fontaine and Diego Sainz. Your top 5. Dalton. Nope. Fontaine. The 77 just gets by. Brandon Alphin. For Miles and Fontaine came into the pits in opposite order. Fontaine led them to pit lane. Miles led them out. Currently running in second and third. Now those drivers, their pit stop was at lap 50. Steve Miles now going around Petchen here, takes the top spot. Petchen's stop was at lap 40, so you see the tire difference, the fall off between just 10 laps. Last lap for Petchen was a 33.20. Miles and Fontaine a 32.15, and that's the both of them. Identical lap times the last time by, but a full second of fall off after just 10 laps. Guys are shot out of a cannon. This depends on what you're trying to achieve. I mean, the guys that came down, they were trying to undercut the leaders as far as tires were concerned. It paid off. They gained a ton of track position, got themselves out in front. But with that, Miles and Fontaine, they waited it out. They went an extra 10 laps compared to most of these guys. They bolted on the fresh rubber, and you see how quickly they marched back through the field to the point. Lap 62, it's Miles, Fontaine, Petchen the top three, then it's Alphin and Sainz the top five. Battle for position. Alphin takes Petchen down to the bottom here. It looks like Alphin's going to go to P3. Petchen now to fourth. Only 2 laps difference between these two drivers. Alphin came at lap 42, Petchen at 40. About a half-second differential between those two. That's just incredible. 2 laps is the only difference in their tires. And it's significant. We talked about it early on. This place just eats tires. You've got to take care of them. Especially when you get a long green flag run like we have had. 63 laps without a caution. Knock on wood, we don't want a caution. Force these guys to conserve tires, take care of what they got. Back out front, Fontaine takes the top spot from Steve Miles, but it's not over yet. Miles back to the bottom alongside off of 4. Fontaine's got him clear again. Man, you thought they were going to walk away from it early on. Now that they're out here 1 and 2 with the freshest tires in the field, they're going to start putting some ground on Brandon Alphin and Sean Petchen. Some other drivers with fresher tires. It looks like Jason Dalton was lap 51. Chris Dean was the same. Alex Cummings lap 52. Looks like he indeed has the freshest rubber on the racetrack. As far as lead lap drivers are concerned, Andrew Miller took tires at 56, but he was doing that right after he got into the fence, so not a factor for him. Either way, Fontaine and Miles starting to stretch it out. Looks like Fontaine's putting some distance on the 24 here, but again, we saw this early on in the race. Miles took care of what he had underneath that race car for a while before he started to push the issue. Still running the bottom, though. Pins the left sides on that white line in the middle of 3 and 4. Justin Bonnarant, Matt Telder, Jason Dalton, all in a group here. Bonnarant trying to take the spot from Telder. Sorry, Dalton. Dalton in the 2 up top. Dalton with a big run. And the caution is out. Not sure for what. There's some smoke here in the dog leg, but no victims to be found. cycle through here and see if we can find anybody with some damage. First caution of the afternoon. A little bit of right front damage on the 00, Chris Evans. Meanwhile, just like that, field down pit lane. It's Fontaine and Miles once again. We'll see who's going to win the race off of pit road. And it's going to be 4 tires and fuel for everybody down, up and down pit lane. Fontaine drops the jack. He's down and away. I think he beats Miles out. He does. So with that, we're going to step aside, get another quick break out of the way. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Working our first caution of the afternoon. Sam Fontaine, Steve Miles, Brandon Alphin, Jason Dalton, Josh Gagnon. Your top 5 currently as we get shaped up for a restart. Pace car is off, takes the hard left turn down pit lane. Wait for Barney to wave the flag. He does, and we're underway. Battle for the lead out of turn 4 to the inside. Steve Miles looking for the position. Here we go again, side by side through turns 1 and 2. We've seen a lot of this already tonight. Fontaine successfully defends. Puts 3/10 back on the 24 of Miles. Quite a distance now through 3 and 4. Back to the 24. Jason Dalton now up into the 3rd spot. Josh Gagnon is in 4th. Battle for position here back around 12th. Jacob Drift in the bottom of the 14. Then it's Alex Cummings. Diego Sainz way up the racetrack. Justin Bondurant in the middle there. 12 of Asher Gwinsey involved as well. Then you've got the 59 machine. That's Blaine Sparling behind the rest of these two. Gwinsey's going to change lanes. Drops to the bottom. Now changes his mind. Goes topside as the slow-running Sean Petchin getting caught out with a pit road speeding penalty, I believe. We did get some clarification from Petchin early on. There was an issue with that. He was unsure why he received the penalty. Looking back at replays after the fact, he did determine that it was not necessary. Bit of a glitch in iRacing. Sometimes it does happen, but nevertheless, he gets the short end of the stick. It's a shame, too, because Petchin was so fast. Sainz still looking pretty strong here, though. He's running 11th. I'd like to see him work his way towards the front and fight it out with these leaders. Big gaggle of cars here from Matt Telder back to Diego Sainz and Justin Bondurant. Fontaine still your leader. He's put about a half second on the 24 of Steve Miles. Gwinsey looking to the inside on Matt Telder. Has the run. Does he have position? Doesn't have the momentum. Telder is able to sneak back alongside, but down into 3 and 4 once again. Gwinsey's going to take the spot. Move the 12 up into the 7th position. Justin Bondurant trying to make the move on Chris Dean. Going to slide up, not enough room, not clear. Now he's got some space. Looks like on the exit of 2, he'll be able to slide up in front of the 48 machine. Back out front. It was close for a moment. Fontaine has got some pressure again. Miles on the bottom. Fontaine way up the racetrack in 4. Good battle here for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th positions as well. Alphin into P3. He's got Dalton up top. Petchin a lap down, but he's working his way through. He is flying through. So it's your top 4 and Petchin. Still in the battle for the lead, Miles and Fontaine. If I had a nickel for every time I said that, I wouldn't have to charge for the broadcast. These two just going at it here, lap after lap after lap. rinse, lather, repeat. Is Alfin looking to the high side? Does he have some room to make a move? Fontaine shuts the door. Alfin looking up the middle. Does he make the move to the middle? Does he go 3 wide? He does not. Fontaine still the leader of this race. Miles does seem to have the better car once the tires come in. Well, running way up at the top of the racetrack is Fontaine. He's going to have a whale of a run if he can keep it out of the wall. Scrapes the right rear just a bit, but maintains the momentum. Alfin now to the inside. He wants the lead into turn 3. Tell you, that top lane has been the way to go around this place. Every lap, almost some contact with Alfin and Fontaine, but man, 77 doing a great job defending just by carrying that extra speed, that extra momentum on corner exit by taking the higher lane. He's not Superman, but he's certainly looking bulletproof right now. Petchin looking to the inside. Again, he is not on the lead lap. His pit stop came at lap 72. He's going to try and get a lap back here the old-fashioned way. Petchin's got 2 laps to make up, so there's 1. Fontaine still race leader. Alfin running in second. Miles third. Dalton fourth. Gagnon fifth. Little wiggle out of Alfin off of turn 2, but he's making the move here back to the inside. Does he have enough to put the pressure on? No, he lifts a bit. He's actually going to open the door for Miles here. Miles going to try and take it around the outside. Alfin too late to come up and block onto turn 4. Now he can get the block done. Miles is going to drop back to the bottom. Dalton's going to close in. Good battle for the top spots here as we work lap 87. And once again, Miles unable to do anything with the 21, at least on the bottom side. You got to find a way to get to the outside of the guy, build the momentum, use that to your advantage to make the pass. But it seems that all the drivers on defense are taking the top lane to try and defend, use that momentum to prevent that pass, prevent that driver that's on the bottom side from clearing you. If you can keep that from happening, you can maintain the spot because they got to back up. They got to tuck back in behind. They want to pull some draft off of you. Otherwise, they risk the driver behind them doing the same, going to the high side. Got to keep your head on a swivel. So as we approach lap number 90, your top 10 is Sam Fontaine, Brandon Alfin, Steve Miles, Jason Dalton, Josh Gagnon, Telder, Sainz, Dean, Bondurant, and Bryson. That's the top 10 as the caution is out once again. Looks like Alex Cummings having a problem on the racetrack. Big problems for the 63. With that, let's take a look at it. What happened here to Alex Cummings? Oh, off the nose of Lattiser. Both drivers in the fence hard. This looks like that was down into turn number 1. Tough to say there. Looks like Cummings might have come up the racetrack a bit. Either way, it ends poorly for both drivers, Cummings and Ladouceur. With that, we're going to step aside, get another break out of the way. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, working our second caution of the afternoon, getting ready to go back to the green flag. Brandon Alphin in control of this one. Sam Fontaine to the outside. Pace car is off. Spins the tires for both leaders. Fontaine spins them. Alphin spins them. Dalton doesn't. He gets to the outside, takes the second spot. Miles was thinking to try to go to the inside as well. Fontaine maintains the lead, though, through turns 1 and 2. Fontaine and Dalton battling it out. Dalton looking to the inside for the race lead into turn 3. Alongside, once again, can Fontaine use that high line to build the momentum and defend the spot out of turn 4. At the stripe, Fontaine leads it. Dalton still attacking. Fontaine gets clear. Now the battle for the second spot. Brandon Elfin working to the outside of Jason Dalton. Dalton tucks back in behind. Fontaine way up the racetrack. Elfin going to try and take advantage. He has to lift to avoid contact. Smart veteran move for the 21. Loses a lot of track position, but he doesn't dump the leader. It's going to open the door for Dalton once again. The 2 to the outside of Brandon Elfin off of turn number 2. Now Dalton's going to have the run down the backstretch. Dalton clears Brandon Elfin, the 2, up into P2. Steve Miles closing the gap, but here comes the 19 of Cedric Ingram. He was shot out of a cannon all of a sudden. Where did he come from? Talk about having a nickel for every time I've said that. Late in these races, you always see one of those Ingram guys, at least one of them, if not both of them, hard charging towards the front. They know when it's time to go. Here he is, running up in the 3rd spot, reeling in the 2 of Jason Dalton. Back at the stripe, lap 98 up on the board. Fontaine still with the lead. Ingram that quickly into the 2nd spot. Jacob Drift now involved in this picture as well. He runs in the 3rd spot. Ingram now to the point. Gladich runs 2nd. Fontaine 3rd. Like they didn't even have to try. Why is it, you say? Well, Cedric Ingram and Jacob Gladich, or Jacob Drift, they took tires, lap 90. So they are going to be awfully fast, as is Diego Sainz. Relegates the 77 of Fontaine back to P4. I don't think he's been that far back since the start of this race. That's where he qualified. Didn't waste any time going to the front. But look at Cedric Ingram. Made his pit stop at lap 90. 4 tires and fuel. Mind you, it was a 13.6 second stop. He's up 18 positions to take the lead here at lap 99. Jacob Drift in the 2nd spot. Same thing, pit stop at lap 90, 12.2. That might have been right sides only, I'm not sure. Either way, a definite advantage as he went cruising by Sam Fontaine, as well as Diego Sainz doing the same. Quick stop for the 44, 13.6 as well. That, again, might have been right sides only, but it doesn't seem to matter. Certainly got him by. Diego Sainz in the stream chat. Gunslingers! At the point, off of turn 2, Ingram, Gladich, Sainz, the top 3. Fontaine, way back in P4, 2.6 seconds back to be specific. It's amazing what a good set of tires will do for you. Gotta wonder if Fontaine's saving his set for that late race caution. You never know. It almost seems like a pretty passive strategy, honestly, though, when you're as fast as the 77 has been all day. Fontaine might have gotten a piece of the wall there off of turn 2. Chris Evans now in the 00. He's closing in as well. So we have a change for the 2nd spot. Diego Sainz and O's out in front of the 14 of Jacob Gladich / Jacob Drift. Checking on Sean Petchin once again. He's running in the 18th spot. Still now 1 lap down, but he is the first car 1 lap down. So if we get a caution here, would be the recipient of a lucky dog, would get back on that lead lap, and that could be disaster for a lot of these drivers because he's been really fast here tonight. Just caught some significant bad luck here on one of those cautions. He got penalized unnecessarily. Petchin could come back and win this thing after all of that. Would be well earned. Ladisser on the bottom in the modified now. Fontaine has slipped back to the 5th spot. Chris Evans jumps up into 4th. Again, he's got fresher tires as well. Asher Gwinzy going to take the spot away as well. His pit stop came at lap 90. Tell you, these guys that opted for tires at lap 90, it's a 40-lap run to the finish. They can make it that far, but I'm just curious. If they don't get a caution, they're in good shape. But if the yellow comes out and some of these other guys that didn't pit on that lap 90 have it set over the wall, these top 5 right now, they're in trouble. Coming to 25 laps to go, your top 5. Cedric Ingram, Diego Sainz, Jacob Drift, Chris Evans, Asher Gwinzy. Now Sam Fontaine in 6th, Jason Dalton 7th, 8th, Steve Miles, Brandon Elfin 9th, Chris Dean runs in 10th. We're going to go side by side for the final time. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the home stretch, coming 18 laps to go. Diego Sainz has taken over the top spot over Cedric Ingram, Jacob Gladich, Chris Evans, Asher Gwinzy, the top 5. 18 to go. Again, these drivers all opted for pit lane. It was a gamble, but so far it's paying off. Top three signs, Ingram and Gladich, unchanged for now. Coming to 16 laps to go. Let's check on Sam Fontaine. He runs back in the 6th position. Not much he can really do at this point except hope and pray for a yellow to bolt on some fresh Goodyears. His pit stop was at lap 68, 22 laps older than everybody else in front of him. He's still maintaining a good position over everybody else that's on the same pit strategy. Steve Miles not giving up a beat either. He's only a few car lengths off the back bumper of Sam Fontaine. Running in the 7th spot. Sainz starting to put a little bit of a distance back in the 19 of Cedric Ingram. Still 3 or 4 car lengths. One little mistake from the 44. Ingram might be looking at a win if he's careful. Josh Gagnon back in the 14th spot, just ahead of Sean Petchen. Petchen still hoping for a caution himself so he can get back on the lead lap. Petchen running 18th, first car, 1 lap down. Off of turn number 2, still ahead of Steve Miles. That's kind of been the status quo most of the afternoon. Watched great battles between the 77 and the 24. At least at the time it was for the top spot. Now it would be for P6. All points paying positions. It would matter if it came down to it. See if Miles can close the gap and do something with the 77. Sainz still out in front. Ingram starting to close the gap, though. It's a few car lengths back to the 19. Less than a quarter second between the top 2 spots as they put some distance on the 14 of Gladich. Ingram's got some pace. He's closing in here with 10 laps coming to 9 laps to go. Sainz is going to have to go defensive here. He's a 10th and a half up, but I don't know for how long. Ingram closing in. 1 car length the distance back to P2. Ingram on the bottom. This is going to be a rerun of Fontaine and Miles as we saw early on. I think Sainz is going to have to be smart. Take the top lane. Use that for defense. Use that for momentum. That's the best way to guard against the pass, at least here at Atlanta. This race looks to be coming down to these two and these two alone. Gladich continues to shed time between these two. It's 3.9 seconds back to P3. It's only a tenth from Sainz to Ingram. 7 laps to go as they approach the stripe. I don't know if Diego's going to be able to hold him off here. It's going to get closer and closer here. Last lap for Ingram was faster than the leader, Diego Sainz, but only by 1/100th of a second. Both drivers running at 33. Sainz at 33.33. Ingram at 33.32. Ingram looking to the bottom again. Sainz has to be mistake-free all the way to the checkers if he's going to take this one. Here, Sainz burping the throttle out of turn number 2 here, had to lift just a bit, open the door more for Cedric Ingram. Ingram now side by side through turn 4. Can he make it stick? He's not going to have the run though. Sainz takes the top lane, builds more momentum, more of a run. We've seen it time and time again here this afternoon, and it pays off once again for Diego Sainz with less than 4 laps to go. They're in 1 and 2. Ingram about a 0.5 quicker that last time by, but still, you can be fast, but you got to get by. I think Ingram's only shot here might be to time this pass in the middle of 3 and 4 just to get the nose out in front at the stripe on the final lap. I think that's his only option here, trying to get by and get clear. Unless you have a pretty significant tire advantage, I just don't see it happening. I think Miles might have been able to do it on Fontaine early on, but it's a rare occurrence. We haven't seen it pay off a lot here tonight. Now, if I'm Cedric Ingram, I'm going to start trying to set up that pass. And it's going to have to come off of turn 4. You almost want to follow Sainz into turns 3 and 4. Don't want to be too close, though, because you don't want to take all the air off the nose. We talked about that downforce disadvantage and that dirty air. Maybe if you can try to get half a lane higher than the 44 into turn 3, you could build enough of a run. You might, I emphasize might, be able to drop it down to the bottom. Get just a nose out in front at the line, but they're coming to 1 lap to go. The white flag in hand. It waves. Final lap here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. One more time around for Diego Sainz. Down the backstretch for the final time. Diego Sainz started this afternoon in the 8th position. Pulled some pit strategy here late. He's out in front. Minimal pressure from Cedric Ingram. Not much he's going to be able to do here. Checkered flag in the air. Diego Sainz wins the Hotlanta 200. Cedric Ingram runs in the 2nd spot. Jacob Gladich going to come home in P3. Diego Sainz, your race winner here. Race number 7 on the season, the Downrange Transport Premier Series. Diego Sainz celebrating here on the front stretch. A very happy driver of that number 44 machine. And I know it's not typical here when we do these tape-delayed broadcasts. We don't always get an interview in, but we do have Diego Sainz available for comment as soon as he's done ripping these rear tires off. In fact, I think he finally gave it up. So let's see if we can get a word. We'll pull Diego Sainz into the broadcast booth right now. I think he's available here. Diego, it's Steve in the HBR TV booth. Are you with us?
Yes, sir. I'm right here.
All right. Glad we got you on here. I know we're on a tape delay, but we did kind of watch some of this last night. I broke my only rule. We knew you were going to win this thing, but man, what a run. What a late pit strategy call to bolt those tires on at lap 90. Most of the field opted to stay out, but it paid off. Tell us the decision-making process in taking tires there late.
Well, I had my boy Cameron. Sadly, he wrecked out very early, but he turned into Mr. Canals for me up in the crew chief booth, and he told me, hey, pit lap 90. He said, as soon as the caution flew, he said, pit right now, get tires. And I was like, okay, bet. That was probably the winning move of the race. He told the same thing to Cedric, and that's when me and him realized, wait, no one else pitted. We could actually do this. So that's when we started pushing up through the field and started pushing.
Well, it was certainly impressive. You had pace early on, just couldn't get up there and battle it out with those leaders. We've said it so many times, as Larry Mack would say, if you follow the leader, you're going to follow the leader. And you guys certainly did not do that. You opted for tires there late, and it paid off, man. Congratulations.
Thank you, man. That's the first win of GLSR, of downrange transport. I got it before Cameron, so but it was a lot of fun. I was so excited. I am excited.
Well, again, congratulations, man. It was well earned. Good to see a new winner in victory lane. Next week, big difference. We're not going to be at the tire shredding Atlanta Motor Speedway, but we're still going to shred some tires, but it's going to be at North Wilkesboro. How do you feel about your chances next week on the old short track?
Last place.
Come on, you'll do better than that.
I'm not that good of a short tracker, but I'm definitely going to practice a lot. Then again, I got Mr. Cam Knaus with me, so he'll teach me a little bit.
Cam Knaus up on the war wagon, making the calls for Diego Sainz. Diego, congratulations, man. We're going to let you go. Who do you want to shout out to?
I want to shout out my sponsor, Academy Sports and Outdoors. I want to shout out the team, Gunslingers, Cedric, Cameron. Sadly, Everett, he doesn't really race with us anymore, but I want to shout him out too. I want to shout out everybody in the Downrange Transport Premier Series for, giving me a chance and sticking through with all of the Gunslingers drama, but, I'm just glad to be here.
Well, we're glad you're here too, man. I appreciate you jumping up in the booth here, even though we're on a tape delay. And again, well-earned victory. You always want to get up there and talk to the broadcast after the fact. So good luck next week, man. Good talking to you. Woo! Diego Sainz, very happy indeed. Let's take a look at our official race results. Of course, we talked to Diego Sainz, your race winner. Cedric Ingram was second. Jacob Drift was third. Chris Evans fourth. Sam Fontaine was fifth. Steve Miles P6. Christine seventh. Asher Gwinsey was 8th. Jason Dalton, P9. Matt Telder was 10th. Luke Simonson in the number 49 was 11th. Josh Gagnon brought it home P12. Brandon Alphin, 13th position in the number 21 after, again, just a lot of these fast guys getting caught out on the pit cycle. Didn't get that caution that they so needed. They couldn't opt to pit under green flag. It just would have been worse. So a tough break. Not the finish these guys wanted, but it is what it is. Justin Bondurant was 14th. Alex Bryson was 15th. Blaine Sparling brought it home in the 16th position. 17th was Andrew Miller. Sean Petchin, tough break for Sean. Bad luck tonight. iRacing kind of bit him here. Some issues as far as that goes. He got some unnecessary penalties. Finishes 18th, one lap down. Richard Midkiff was 19th. Tristan Lattiser was 20th. Alex Cummings 21st. Kevin Davis 22nd. Jeremy Freer 23rd. Jason Clark was 24th. Cameron Ingram 25th. J.W. Miller, who was fast in practice, was 26th. And Luke Knupp, last but not least, the 27th finishing position. I want to thank you guys for jumping in here. A few of you that were watching tonight's race on the tape delay. I do appreciate you being here in the stream chat, watching any way, shape, or form that you can. Even if you don't like the commercials, I get it. I don't like commercials either. I don't like to have to run them, but it keeps the broadcast fee down. It keeps it less expensive for the leagues. I can run it caution free. I can run it without commercials if the leagues want, but it definitely costs more money to do that. Those advertisings, those commercials, they are paid for. They're not just run for the heck of it. So either way, it is what it is. It's the same way in real life. They got to pay the bills somehow, and that's how we do it. Makes it cheaper for the leagues, and I know most of the time the league admins do appreciate that. Again, at the end of the day, I do appreciate you guys jumping in the stream chat. Even if you have questions about commercials, come back and say it all you want. I do appreciate it. So thanks for watching, guys. Join us next week for North Wilkesboro. Unfortunately, and I hate to say this, it seems that this particular league, I always have to tape delay it. It's just the luck of the draw. I'm actually going to be up in New Hampshire for work for a couple of days, and then at least I'm lucky enough to make it up to the race, but we'll have to tape delay this one. It's going to be done on the Monday of my return. It'll be early Monday, early evening on the 17th, I believe that it is, followed by the race one, the shootout for the IROC Challenge Series. So we're going to go kind of double header here with HBR TV. So stick with us. We'll get it done. It's not always going to be perfect, but we try our best. Last but not least, check us out, hbrtv1.com. The website is up and running. We got photographs. We've got real racing photographs. We've got the ability to go live, watch the live stream there, help us out. And then youtube.com/@HBRTV1. Like, follow, share, subscribe, turn on the notifications. Makes all the difference if you hit that like button. So help us out as you always do. It's going to wrap it up. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV, congratulating Diego Sainz on his race win here at Atlanta. We'll see you next week, guys. Thanks for watching.